This program is brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to First Issues, where entrepreneurs are given a platform to discuss how they are championing the charge to alleviating unemployment pressures in the country while still being significant economic players. While Botswana has been long lauded for its stable economy and remarkable progress, a persistent challenge continues to cast a shadow over its bright future: youth unemployment, which has been on a steady upward trend for decades. According to a published article by Aaron O'Neill at Statista, youth unemployment rates in Botswana are above 40% as at 2024, as thousands of graduates join the labour market every year. This then highlights that the country faces a critical need for innovative solutions that bridge the gap between education and the job market. This is where Thobo Khathola, a young entrepreneur and founder of Lion Tutoring, emerges as a pivotal figure, not just in education, but in actively solutioning for one of the nation's most pressing socio-economic issues. Thobo's journey began with a simple observation: a high failure rate in the national education system and a corresponding difficulty for students to access quality tutoring. After not finding employment himself upon returning from his studies in South Africa, he saw an opportunity not in finding a job, but in creating one. He founded Lion Tutoring in 2015, starting with just 3 tutors and operating from his parents' home. The company's core mission was to address both the academic decline and the high unemployment rate simultaneously. What started as a small-scale tutoring service quickly evolved into a powerful, technology-driven enterprise. Through a dedicated mobile app, the company connects vetted and qualified tutors, many of whom are unemployed graduates, with students who need academic assistance. This platform provides a critical channel for skilled but jobless young professionals to generate income. By creating a marketplace for educational services, Thobo has directly tackled the supply and demand mismatch in the labour market. Currently, Lion Tutoring employs 400 professionals with a vision of a staff complement of 1,000 in the foreseeable future. Our conversation tonight endeavours to unearth the principles that made Thobo tick, the ups and downs of his journey, and what he hopes will be his ultimate achievement on this path. Thobo, thank you so much for coming on First Issues and affording us your time. We're here today to talk to you about your entrepreneurship journey as the founder and CEO of Lion Tutoring. But let us start first here. Why did you choose to go into entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship for me, I would say, chose me because I graduated from university as an economist. So my ideal employment was obviously working in a financial sector somewhere. But I started tutoring at the university before I graduated. So I think that's where the tutoring started. And then when I came back to Botswana, I started my own business. I did look for employment, but as you know, the unemployment story of Botswana, having more than a third of us unemployed graduates, I had to make a plan. So I turned to the thing that was most, that came easy to me, something that I had in the past, made money out of. So I think that is where entrepreneurship came. So the way it started, I basically was just tutoring students from my church, and the parents would pay me, and then I could see that this is actually a viable business option. Then I registered Lion Tutoring in the year 2015, February, and we're exactly 10 years from now, and hiring more than 400 employees.
You've been at this building Lion Tutoring, like you rightly said, for just over 10 years now. And you started with just 3 tutors to now just about 400, if not over 400, right? Is there something that you wish you knew then when you were starting that you knew now that you believe maybe would have helped propel you much further than where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, what would I say to my younger self would just be keep going. That's the beauty of life, things or knowledge or experience comes as you go. And I think it would have taken away from the beauty of learning had I known everything back then. And the same with now, I'm continuously learning. As you can see the books behind me, we learn from other people, we learn from other CEOs, we learn from the media, so it's a continuous process.
In the last 10 years that you've been doing all of this, what would you say is one of your greatest accomplishments, or maybe 2 or 3 that you'd like to speak to as a young Botswana entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say the most recent is the top 100 CEOs, which is a huge vote of confidence for the work that I've done. Other achievements was the Forbes Under 30. I was the first Botswana on the cover of the magazine, and that was a huge accomplishment for Botswana as a whole. As an organization, big accomplishments are always the students. Having students passing, having above 90% credit pass rate, it's a huge accomplishment, because without that accomplishment we become redundant. Followed by also just youth employment. I think having 400 people coming through to this building, having tutoring jobs, serving in 3 markets, Botswana, South Africa and Kenya, is also a huge accomplishment. As I say, I'd like to always dedicate them back to the team, because they're the ones that make it all possible.
bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala go duela metsi.
Mama, ka mala jana ha o tlhoka le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi. FNB re diretse tiro motho. Ma kwa go marekisetso ga ile gore ana le tshwala la FNB Cash Plus. Se se tlhokanyela ke o mangwa ga go mo tirisong le reference number e bon dinomoro tse diriswang go ruratsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke monto sampolele ka mananeo a FNB ya Cash Plus.
Hela ha re le nna ke gone go utwang ka dona ebile ke ne ke sa dumele.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
FNB. Dona. Nyawa ene ke ra sa thare. Mpare motiki. Na ke ra go motho ya la mamrapedi. O tola skontere hela. O bua go semosong wa go duela semosong. Manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
I did look for employment, but as you know, the unemployment story of Botswana, having more than a third of us unemployed graduates, I had to make a plan. So I turned to the thing that was most, that came easy to me, something that I had in the past, made money out of. So I think that is where entrepreneurship came.
Thank you so much for staying with First Issues. We continue our conversation with the founder and CEO of Lion Tutoring, Thobo Khathola, now specifically focusing on the enterprise.
I want us to also talk about some of the difficulties that you've encountered as an entrepreneur and as an organization. Do you care to speak about those?
Yeah, the biggest difficulty we have now is growth capital. In Botswana, it's very difficult to attract growth capital in the sense of venture kind of funding. What has got us here in the past 10 years has nothing to do with limitations conditions of financing. We've financed this business, bootstrapped from scratch, used credit cards, used our personal financing, but there's a certain point that you can't move further than that into international markets, competing with international companies that are listed on the stock exchanges without growth funding. So I think that is the biggest challenge that we have, and we are currently, raising capital, laying off some shares so that we can attract the right investment.
Maybe we could call them trenches of financial difficulty to scale the business. Why do you keep going? What is your motivation to just keep trying and keep waking up every day to work on this dream?
I think personally for me is the impact that we're making. Having a parent bring a child here, a child who they themselves don't know what they could do, and having that child be able to get admission at university, for me it's more fulfilling than anything. And what I always preach to our teams is to say, if you can help 5 to 10 students do that, how about 50 to 100? How about 5,000 students? So it's just an addiction that keeps going to see how much impact can we create in the lives of these students, and also just the social impact from our tutors. These people are having families. Most of them, like myself, had problems of unemployment, and we've created employment for them. They have sustainable incomes that can help them to, run their families, get cars, buy a house, in the future. So those are some of the accomplishments that I feel, they give us that sense of pride. They keep me going to say, even on the tough days, think of all those people that have their lives changed.
What is the one thing that you think a lot of people get wrong, and especially the new entrants into the entrepreneurship space, about entrepreneurship, and you think that it's a mindset change that they need to adopt about?
Entrepreneurship is about serving other people as you benefiting yourself. So most of us go into entrepreneurship with what can I get out, never thinking what can I do to serve. I'll take it back to my faith, to say, what Jesus Christ told everyone to say, the biggest among you will be the least, meaning that for you to be the most revered individual, you have to be able to serve, serve your community. I think that is the mismatch or the mindset change, as you say, that we need to foster into the, fellow entrepreneurs, to say the moment you can serve as many people as possible, that is where you are an entrepreneur. And sometimes it comes at the expense of your own health, your own family, your own mental health, but it is through serving that money will always come, or financial resources or gains will come as a result of serving.
So in the end, Thobo, if you were to find yourself in a room full of maybe graduates, entrepreneurship hopefuls, what would your words of encouragement be to them, to help them charter their own path into victory?
Yeah, I would say, the major thing is where you can get employment, even as before you are a graduate. I got my first job at the university on my second year. I had 3 jobs actually. I was a driver, driving some of the university vehicles. I was a sales agent, and I was a tutor. So I think, working in those companies have really helped me to serve other people. So most of the time as young people, we always think I need to register a business as soon as possible. I'm not going to work for somebody. It is in the working for somebody else that you tend to build yourself, your character, accountability, etc. And by the time you now go out and have your own businesses, you are going to know how to serve other people. So that is the basic advice I can give, to say, find something to do, find somebody to work under, find somebody to mentor you, to work under, to serve, and then in the result, you'll be able to be a good entrepreneur.
Thobo Khathola and Lion Tutoring offer a compelling blueprint for how entrepreneurship can be a powerful force for social change. Thobo's story is a testament to the idea that with vision and innovation, the private sector can play a transformative role in building a more prosperous and inclusive future for a nation's youth.
Ta bitsa motho gore motho a leke mangwala e go duela metsi.
Mama ka re male jaana ha o tlhokana le go tsamela kgakala gore go duela metsi FNB re diretse tiro motho
Senthe
mma kwa go marekisetsong a ile gore ana le tshwao la FNB Cash Plus se se tlhokanyela ke o mang wa gago mo tirisong le reference number e bong dinomoro tse di diriswang go rurihatsa dituelo tsa gago.
FNB what?
FNB Cash Plus.
Madonna makante ke ngwe ntse o sampolele ka mananeo a FNB ya Cash Plus.
Hela ha re le nna ke gone go utlwang ka dona ebile ke ne ke sa dumele
ka be ke heditse.
Deposit cash and coins, withdraw from e-wallet, make cardless cash withdrawals, buy prepaid airtime and electricity, pay bills such as water, electricity and many more.
Ire bolokile FNB.
Dona nyawa ene ke ra sa thare mpare motiki na ke ra go motho hela mamarapedi go tola sekontere hela o bua go semosong wa go duela semosong manane wa FNB Cash Plus.
FNB, how can we help you?
Welcome back to First Issues. This last segment of the program, we remind entrepreneurs that solutions to their plights are there. They just need to know where to look. That is where we come in, offering a platform to industry experts and service providers to share what some of those solutions are. Tonight, we talk to Thabane Nehemiah, who is credit manager at one of the local commercial banks, to talk about some of these solutions, specifically looking at those who need funding. This taking into account that numerous studies have shown that 80% of SMMEs fail in the first 3 years, a lack of funding being one of the major reasons why. On that note, here's our conversation with Thabane.
We do have funding solutions for entrepreneurs. Effectively, what we do is we encourage growth. So we do want our businesses to be currently operating, and we will fund their growth. As you would know, we have a lot of, I'd say, grassroots businesses that start from the bottom up, and we do love and encourage their growth. We would like to tend to call them simple entrepreneurs, and we do have funding solutions for them. There's a product called Scored Credit, where we just look at the behavior of a client in terms of our system. So you do have to be an FNB client, and then what we would do is we would look at your behavior pattern, your deposits, if you've ever had a credit card, how that works, and then upon that we would be able to afford you facilities. So with Scored Credit, there are 3 products that we actually offer our clients. There's the asset-backed financing, it goes up to 1 million pula, and then there is your term loan, goes up to 500,000 pula, and then an overdraft, which is for working capital facilities, that would be up to 500,000 pula.
As much as we want to be talking about solutions for the simple entrepreneur, there are other entrepreneurs who are more sophisticated and have been in the business for a very long time and are actually doing very well. So what about those? Do you have any solutions for them?
Perfect. So for the West Bank, we call it asset-backed financing. This would be for a typical entrepreneur trying to finance machinery. So it's attached to an asset. And then an overdraft is a working capital facilities. This would be for your buying your stock, paying your creditors, and just to run the day-to-day of the business. And then a term loan is a mixed use. So if you want to say get into a possible stock and assets purchase, you take a term loan.
Thabani, thank you so much once again for coming on First Issues and affording us your time to have this conversation. Before we end it though, how else do you as a bank help entrepreneurs aside from credit?
So that's a great question. What we like to think of ourselves as FNB is a 360 bank. So not only do we offer credit facilities, we do offer deposit solutions. You can save in pounds, US dollars. You can have access to eWallet Pros. You can have access to a great FX team that will support you. Over and beyond that, I think we just are there to walk the journey with our clients.
In the end, no matter how much cumbersome a struggle can be, there's always a solution for it. As an entrepreneur, what you need to do is arm yourself with the knowledge and skill of knowing where to look. With that, we've come to the end of tonight's episode. Until next time, good night. This program was proudly brought to you by First National Bank of Botswana.